Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Commander Clash podcast, where the Commander Clash crew talks all things Commander. And this week, we got a sweet one. We are going to be tier ranking life gain spells in Commander. We always have conversations. How much life gain do you play? Is it worth it? Is it even good at all? And this topic is so important. We even had to bring Richard out of retirement to come and teach us about the power of life gain in Commander. Richard, good to have you back. How's it going?
My favorite topic, life gain. It's great. Unfortunately, you guys have weird opinions on life gain, so we're gonna have to dissect that. But life gain is great, guys. Like, imagine if you just had twice the starting life total. Like, look how tanky you are. It's amazing.
I figured if there's someone that actually plays Fruition, that has to be the person you get on the podcast to talk about life gain, because they must really know their stuff if they know what Fruition is. So anyway, we got a different crew this week. We got Richard here. Both Tomer and Phil are traveling this week, so we also have Morgan filling in. How's it going today, Morgan?
It's going good. I'm also a fan of some incidental life gain. I mean, you guys believe in the fog meta. You gain enough life. That's basically a fog. So excited to talk about some of these cards.
That is true. And then, of course, Krim, who I think mostly gains life with cards like Mr. Negative, right? That's kind of more your style of life gain.
Whoa. Don't forget Resolute Archangel, which is also like pretty much Mr. Negative. And on top of that, I am now a life gain expert just because of Hope.
Yeah,
that is true. That
he's ruined life gain for all of us with his Hope.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the crew. I'm Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, by the way. But that's the crew for today, and we're going to tier rank some life gain in just a minute. But before we do, we got a couple of sponsors. Our show today is brought to you by Foil Armor. Do you have problems with your foils curling? Well, Foil Armor is the ultimate solution for flattening your foils. It's a two-way humidity pack that you simply put inside an airtight container with your cards, and Foil Armor will absorb and release moisture, making your cards completely flat. Put it back in your storage box to keep your cards flat forever, and you can head over to foilarmor.com and use the code MTGGoldfish to get 15% off. Our show is also brought to you by Card Conduit, the easiest way to sell your Magic cards. If you ever get tired of the hassles of buy listing, you can skip them with Card Conduit. You can use their curated service where you send in as many cards as you want with a buy list value of $1 or more, and pay just a 5% service fee. And if you want to do a bit of work, you can use their sorted service where you list and sort your cards in advance and pay just a 2% fee. Either way, you're going to get a detailed report with the results in a fast payment once your order is processed, and you can even get another 10% off by heading over to cardconduit.com/MTGGoldfish. Card Conduit, it's the easiest way to sell your Magic cards. So thank you to our sponsors for supporting the show. And now it's time for the comment of the week. So last week, we talked about the top cards from Spider-Man, but all of our top comments came from one random turn of phrase, courtesy of Phil, who isn't even here to defend himself today. But our top comment comes from @AshRealist9571 says, "Let he who has not beat his own lizard lose the first tail." Ancient proverb. If you don't know what that reference is, go watch last week's podcast. It'll make way more sense. That was still
So
that
good.
moment. I laughed so
The
hard.
comments
It was
went,
the hardest I laughed
let
in a
Phil know.
podcast.
I wasn't even here, and I
Let
saw a
Phil
clip
know.
of Seth just hysterically laughing.
Oh, it
for a
was
straight
so
minute.
good. It was
I
so
really
good.
enjoyed
and
all
it-
the
It's
comments.
all Seth's
So
fault
good.
too. I held my stature. I held my
Grim-
ground for a second, and then Seth lost
was
it. And I was
doing
like,
good,
okay,
yeah.
I'm losing. I'm losing the fight.
It reminded me of all the dragon puns from a couple months ago. Yikes.
Tomer's just too pure.
Oh, I know.
Anyway, thank you. Thank you for sending in your comments. Leave a comment to this episode and maybe you'll be the comment of the week next time. So anyway, today we are tier ranking life gain spells, and we're going to do this the way that we normally do, which is we got a huge list of life gain spells, almost 40 spells altogether, which are either cards that we play a lot or cards that are highly ranked on EDHREC. We put them all in the spreadsheet, we each graded them, and now we're going to kind of hash it out and go over a bunch of them. We can't get through all 40, but we're going to get through a bunch of them today. And here's how the grading system works. So two things to note before we get to the cards. So first, as we gave these cards grade, we were assuming that we were not playing them in a life gain deck. So if you're a dedicated life gain deck, of course, most life gain cards are going to be good. So this is trying to give grades based on how good these life gain cards are in non-life gain decks. Would you play them as incidental life gain in just a normal deck? And as far as the grading system, S is every deck true staples. A is good in a lot of decks. B is good in specific decks. And this, I would say, is where cards that are only good in the life gain archetype type would mostly fall in this. C is not great, but maybe you'd play an A deck. And then D is, I don't play this card, or I think this card is kind of bad. So that's our system. Let's get to the cards, and let's start with a classic. When I think of life gain, I think of the Editor Killer. Morgan, I'm sure you have nightmares about this card. I'm talking
Yeah.
about Soul Warden and also Soul Attendant. And then the green one is Essence Warden. They're all the same card. They're 1-mana 1/1s that say whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain a single life. So these cards, I see them a lot on Commander Clash. I've actually been surprised how often we see people playing them not in life gain decks. They're insane in life gain, but I think they're also pretty good outside of life gain. I think it's an A tier card, personally. That's where I'd put it. But I'm curious what you guys think. Where are you at with Soul Warden and also the other similar versions of that effect?
I mean, if we're talking about outside a life gain deck, I'm very curious of Richard's opinion on him. But I mean, like for me,
Yeah, should we say what our all of our rankings are?
So,
Yeah.
so our rankings, A, and then Richard came in at S. So A's across the board. Richard, those are our initial rankings on this one. Richard, I know you're a believer, right, in playing these in basically any creature deck, right? With a lot of creatures, you just play it because it's going to gain life.
So good thing Morgan is here. So I want you guys to know that I purposely do not play Soul Warden in every deck because of the amount of editing overhead it
I
adds.
miss
for
you so
Morgan.
much. Please come back.
So I only play it like when absolutely necessary, like I'm doing something with it. But I would play it all the time, right? You slap this bad boy down on turn 1 and it's gaining you like 20, 30 life or something before it dies without you having to work for it. Like you don't have to play tokens, you don't have to play a blink deck, you don't have to do anything. Just people will play creatures and it'll gain life. I would rank the white ones S, the green one somewhere between A and B. So the white one matters a lot more because chances are it's drawing cards on the way down. It's being reanimated by Sun Titan. Like there's a lot more synergies with that one drop. It can hold equipment, stuff like that, right? That green doesn't have access to. So I think the white ones are a lot better than the green ones. So I would only play the green one when I'm specifically doing something, like I'm a blink deck or I'm going, I'm playing Avengers Zendikar or something, right? But the white ones, I think, go in every deck. Unless you A, don't want to keep track of triggers, B, you want to spare your editor, stuff like that, right? So that would be the downside, right? Oh, excuse me, gain 1 life. Oh, I think I forgot a life last turn. What am I at exactly? That's the downside of playing this. But if you don't care about that, I think it's one of the best life gain cards.
Yeah, because it doesn't just check your creatures; it also checks everyone else's creatures. And even if
Everyone's
you're
creatures.
even if you just have like a mediocre amount of creatures, everyone else is also going to have some number of creatures. It comes down early; it's going to gain you a ton of life. You need a specific reason not to play it. I think it's best in life gain decks, obviously, as most of these creatures are. But yeah, I mean, when you just play these in most decks that have a decent amount of creatures, I mean, they kind of rule.
No. Because, I mean, don't you want synergies? Like, example, I get it in like a life gain deck, right? Halia, you draw your card, you have all your Johnny's Pride mates. That's awesome. But I don't see a reason to just play this because there's better ways to gain life than just one here, one there, one here, one there, right? Like, without any synergies to follow up on it.
I think it's
Richard's
naturally
right?
synergistic, though, in white decks, though. Just because,
Yeah.
like, if you think about white decks, you have all this stuff like welcoming vampire effects that trigger off, like, low-power creatures entering. You have stuff that tutors up 1-drops. Like, it is just, like, oddly synergistic to be a 1-mana 1/1 in a white deck. It wears equipment, which is a big theme of white. So I think that's where the synergy comes in. So that's kind of how I look at it, that it's, like, kind of like Esper Sentinel in a weird way. It's Esper Sentinel, but rather than drawing you some number of cards, it gains you a bunch of life throughout the game, and it just synergizes with all the stuff most white decks are doing.
Yeah, that aren't life gain decks. I don't know. I mean, okay, if you're right about little critters and like all the 2 power or less like archetype of cards, that you can have better creatures, right, than just some 1-mana 1/1 that just gains you a life here and there. I don't know. I'm not
We'll see
sold.
what Crim ranks highly, but this thing is like 1 mana gain 20, 1 mana gain 30.
It
And
can be.
And
Yeah.
the problem is it's slow, right? It takes like a couple turns and everyone sees it coming. But I'm curious what Crim ranks higher than this because it's probably like one of the most the cards that give you the most amount of life and also most amount of life per mana as well. So it'll be interesting to see what
I-
Crim ranks highly. But Crim doesn't seem to like life gain. That's my
Yeah.
that's my takeaway from this.
Whoa, whoa,
I-
hold on,
Only
hold on,
only in
whoa.
life gain decks, right? In a generic deck, you don't like life gain.
There's cards. There's cards that I think are really good generically. So we'll get to it. We'll
maybe-
get to it.
Okay.
Maybe we'll find some as we go along. So I think this one we're gonna leave in the A tier. It was all A's and S's, so I think it's a pretty clear A. Speaking of cards that I kind of view as synergy pieces, but are also life gain effects. Let's move on to another, I guess, kind of group of cards, but really the OG here is Blood Artist. So Blood Artist is a 2-mana 0/1 that says whenever it or another creature dies, you gain a life and target player loses a life. And there's a bunch of variants on Blood Artist. There's some that hit each opponent. There's some that don't target. There's some that are more mana. But Blood Artist is kind of the one that the OG of this effect. So as far as Blood Artist grades, where do we start on Blood Artist effects? I think this is a really hard one to grade just because I think of this as like a combo piece, but it does just incidentally gain life like Soul Warden. On our list, we have 3 Bs and then 1 A coming in from Blood Artist. Let's start with the A. Morgan, you're the highest grader on this one. What do you think about Blood Artist in Commander as life gain?
I kind of put the Blood Artist and Friends in the same category as Soul Warden. I would think as far as like maybe gaining life, it's probably not gaining you as much life necessarily. But I think the general philosophy of you could just jam it in a generic deck of the color and it will gain you a decent amount of life. And what's nice about Blood Artist is like, yeah, maybe it's not going to gain you as much life as say a Soul Warden or something, but you're also going to be dealing a little bit of damage. So there's a little bit of a trade-off there. Yeah, you don't slam these in every deck, but you could play them in most black decks and feel okay about them.
What do you think of that argument, Richard, of playing this like a Soul Warden? Is this on the same level where you can just play this in any deck because creatures are going to be dying and you're going to gain life off of it, or not? Not for you.
No. The only thing saving it is aristocrats as an archetype exists, and these are like your payoffs, right? So these are extremely strong. If we removed aristocrats as an archetype, unplayable trash. Like I would have put this
Really?
in here to gain life or to deal damage. It's like so slow, and it's also like threatening, right? It's a combo piece. So like unlike Soul Warden where you slap it on turn 1, it'll just live. Like no one cares. Like yeah, you're gaining life. Maybe they're criminally underestimated. No one cares. But Blood Artist, you're like whoa, right? Like any
That is
infinite
true.
and we're dead, right? So they start removing it quite quickly, and it doesn't serve its role as like gaining you life, right? Because it either dies immediately or you have to hold it for the combo, in which case it's a combo kill. Or your aristocrats, right? You can actually gain enough value in the 1 or 2 turns it's on the battlefield. So actually in a regular deck, I would never play any of these. And then Blood Artist in specific kind of sucks. Like Blood Artist is the 60 card format version. You want the ones that hit everyone, right? Like I think Zulaport Cutthroat.
Zulaport Cutthroat,
Yeah, there's others that will hit everyone.
Or
at the table.
Sephiroth.
Sephiroth.
That's
But they
kind
don't
of in its
gain you
own
more life. They
category.
just deal more damage. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm with Richard on these ones where like I think Blood Artist is very good, but I wouldn't play it outside of like some sort of sacrifice based deck. Soul Warden I could see just playing like in a creature heavy deck. I wouldn't do that with Blood Artist though in a black deck though. I really need to have like sack outlets for me to want to have it in my deck. Although if I am doing that, it's one of the best cards in the deck, or whatever versions of it I'm playing are some of the best cards in the deck.
Yeah, I would say that pretty much what Richard has said. I fully agree with that because I don't play any Blood Artist effect in just like a random deck.
So B tier it then, I guess. Leave it
Yeah.
in the Bs. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's move to a card that I don't know what to think of this card. I think this is one of the strongest cards that we have on our list today, but I've never conceptualized it as a life gain card. And that card is Akroma's Will. And let me pull up the exact text on this because there are a lot of words on Akroma's Will. Akroma's Will is a 4-mana white instant. It says, choose one, or if you have your commander, choose both. Creatures you control gain flying, vigilance, and double strike until end of turn. Or creatures you control gain lifelink, indestructible, and protection from all colors until end of turn. So this is a card that we ranked very highly. I believe we have all S's and A's on this one. Richard, you came in as A. Everyone else has this as an S tier card. This is one of my favorite white finishers. I play this in like every white creature deck. Is it really life gain, though? That's my only problem is I feel like when I cast this, most of the time my opponent just dies and the game ends, and I'm not really using it to buffer my life total, but I guess it can be used that way. But really good card. Do you play it as incidental life gain, though?
I mean,
think-
I think there's an episode where because of this card, I use Akroma's Will. I think it was a couple seasons ago. I was able to gain all that life, and then I was able to survive the crackback, right? Like swing, remove one person. My life total is so high that it just, because the double strike or whatever, all of that is just so good on Akroma's Will. But I kind of agree with you in that this is not a life gain spell. This is a win con spell. It is everything at the same time. It is a life gain spell, but it's also a protection spell. It's also a win con. So I don't view it as a life gain spell for when I add it to my deck. This is a closer. I'm not just using this to gain a couple of life, like an Essence Warden or something like that.
Yeah, I've always added it to my decks as a finisher, but the life gain does matter more than a lot of the other keywords on here because there are plenty of times, like Krim said, where maybe you don't have enough power to kill everyone at the table. You're going to gain enough life that you will likely survive to get another turn afterwards, even if you can't kill everyone right then and there. So I think the life gain's pretty relevant on it, even though that's not why you would necessarily add it to a deck.
Yeah,
I think. Oh, go ahead, Richard.
I was gonna say, like, it's not a life gain card, but does the incidental life gain put it over the top of other finishers? I actually don't play this. I was actually debating A or B, but I felt it was
Really?
weird.
You're not a believer?
I never play this. Like, indestructible 4 mana. That's been power crept. It dies to farewell still, right? It dies
Double
to
strike, though.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Seth. If you got Spirited Companions and Soul Wardens, this flying double strike
Yeah,
doesn't
against
end the
Richard
game,
creatures,
right?
yeah.
Like,
Richard
you
gains
gotta have
more
big
off of the
boys
Soul Warden.
to get it done, right? So I actually prefer Moonshaker Cavalry. So when I need a finisher for my white deck, it's usually Moonshaker, and I actually don't play Akroma's Will, and the life gain is not enough to fix it for me, right? Because usually all my creatures are too small, like it's not even performing its job as a finisher, whereas the Moonshaker will do its job as finishing someone off. So I prefer that. But I do think the life gain is relevant, right? Like Krim said, you kill someone, you buffer your life, and you survive the crackback and the game continues. Because usually when you swing out in Commander, either everyone's dead, therefore you win. But if everyone's not dead, you're gonna die in the crackback like immediately.
Yeah.
And this gives you that amount. I just don't value this indestructible 4 mana thing anymore. Like it just does not
what
do
about
enough
the
for me.
protection part? I agree with the indestructible. Sure, that's been power crept, but the protection from all colors pushes so much damage through
Yes.
because there's just so many people that can't block that,
But
right?
but
Whereas
Krim, if you
Moonshaker
only
Cavalry
play one
Flying, like the
ones.
flying.
Okay,
Like the flying is close enough, right? Like usually flying is enough, but yes, the protection helps you too. You can push through all that damage.
I think in some ways this exemplifies what you are looking for in a great commander life gain effect, in that it isn't just life gain. Like, I think that's really what I want in life gain effects. A lot of the time are cards that are gaining life, but can also be a finisher and can also be bad board protection or can also force through some damage. So I think that's why Akroma's Will is easy S tier for me. And I think
and that's why.
No.
Soul
Can I
Warden-
counter this point? Can I
or
counter this
what's the
point?
counter? What's the counter, Richard?
Here's the counter, Seth. So Akroma's Will is only cast when you're ready to win. Okay? Like you're like, I got lethal. I'm gonna Akroma's Will, and hopefully there's no fog, and I win. It's not actually really gaining you life. Like you know what I mean? Like if it's the mid
I
game.
definitely have done that. I definitely have cast Akroma's Will just because, like, I will gain enough life that I won't die,
Well,
and I probably take a person out.
Kind of coping, right? What usually will happen is in the mid game, someone overruns and smacks you, and you just die, and you're like, "Well, I didn't have 4 mana up to gain life, right?" Like that's why like the fog is so important, right? Because it's 1 mana, and you can do it when you don't expect it. You know, it's like almost like Ink Shield, right? Like if you're gonna hold up 4 mana to Akroma's Will defensively, it's very difficult. So I feel you don't use this as a way to prolong the game, right? This is like you're gonna win, and maybe you're even winning a little more, right? But like it's cast when you're gonna win. So I feel it serves a different purpose than something like Soul Warden, where it buffers your life total and ensures you just don't die randomly in the mid game.
I actually agree with that, but you still get the upside of being able to gain life off of it. Like, you could use it to gain life. It's not optimal or how it's normally played, but some percentage of the time, you might play it just to, like, gain some life and deal some damage or try to protect your board. But I play it like you do, where, like, I just hold this in hand and play it like a
You
Kratos
just
to try to win the
cross
game.
your
Like,
fingers and hope you don't die, right? Like I'm not casting this to gain 10 life. Like I hope you don't kill
Yeah.
me, right?
it's a tough, it's tough to play it that way. But I still, and this is, I guess, kind of illuminates why this is a hard ranking, because a lot of these cards aren't super clear and that they gain life, but they also do other things. And how do you value that is going to be, I think, really interesting as we go through the rest of the cast.
If because of this discussion, and I agree with Richard's points about, like, I'm not really casting this to gain life, I don't know if I would rank this as an... Okay, so it is a very good card. I have ranked it as an S, but by S, I'm talking about it is a good life gain spell. But
You mean you ranked it like for its other abilities and not the life?
Yeah, I really
aspect,
ranked
right?
it for it because it's a finisher, right? So
Okay,
Yeah.
in that
but don't we
case-
have to do it like that? Because
We
if
have
we
to do it
don't,
like
if
that.
we
Yeah.
don't do it like that, if you're not a dedicated life gain deck, you're not going to run cards that just gain life, probably. So you have to, you probably have to have other effects tied to your cards that gain life. Like we were already talking about the Soul Ward, and it triggers all your other white shenanigans, right? So like you have to like have that kind of stuff in mind. Otherwise, if it's just like I play this and I gain some life, it's like, okay, that's a synergy piece that you didn't put in your deck. So yeah, I think we have to do it that
saying
way.
that it is okay. So it is a valid S then, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think
Okay,
so.
because
I think so.
I would
Yeah.
think
I
that,
think
like,
the life gain
example-
is adding to its ranking, right? I
For
mean,
the
there
life
are
gain
other
is
cards
kind of
on
the
this list
cherry
that are
on
very
top,
strong,
though.
where the life gain aspect is kind of meh, right? But you're like, well, it's
Okay.
adding something, and maybe it puts it over the top of its competitors, right? Maybe you actually play this over Moonshaker because you care about the life gain.
So let's leave it in S for now. If we want to change it in the future, we can. But I want to move on to a card that I think is going to be equally controversial and also plays into this conversation about, is it actually life gain? What is this card doing? And this is the Crim Special, the Meathook Massacre. So Meathook Massacre, it is a double black in X enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, each creature gets -X until end of turn. And when a creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life. When a creature an opponent control dies, you gain 1 life. So this we started off with me giving it a B. Richard and Crim both gave it S's. Morgan came in at an A, so I guess we'll stick it in between in the A's for now. So this is another card, like, are you playing this for life gain? Are you playing this because it's a Wrath? I view this as a good and specific deck cards. I view the Wrath mode is too expensive, so I like it in like sack decks, aristocrat decks, but I don't play it like a Damnation, and the life gain hasn't been enough for me to make up for the fact that the Wrath mode, I think, is kind of overcosted. So I don't view it as a black staple that I play in every deck. I play it in specific decks, but you guys are way higher on it than I am, so convince me that this is an S tier card, Richard and Crim and Morgan.
Everything is indestructible in the current year. That just has that attached to it.
That's true.
And on top of that, like the ability to just give everything -1/-1 doesn't actually feel that bad. Like I feel like every game I've played, I have never felt like it costs too much to Wrath. Because most of the time, I get rid of all the things that clutter up the board anyways, and it's able to sweep the board, or at least most of it, and most of the things I care about go with it. On top of that, Meathook Massacre rewarding me in black for killing my opponent's creatures by healing me, now that I can do, right? Like, even if I just, like, Meathook for like 3. X is 3, and I pick off a bunch of Saproling tokens or plant tokens. Do you know how much life I just gained right there? That is so much life. Like, it is ridiculous. And then if I lost some creatures, look, sure, I may have drained you, but that part's irrelevant. To me, the main thing is that I can kill creatures left and right. And maybe it's because it's my play style that takes advantage of that part. But, like, Meathook Massacre rewards me for all my removal.
I definitely remember games where I'm like, why is Crim at 50 life? Like, we're on turn 8. Crim
Because
should be at like 20 now. And then I'm like, wait a minute. He's had a Meathook on the
And I'm also
battlefield all
sorry,
game.
Morgan, first off, my bad, because I know that's an editing nightmare. But on top of that, sometimes combat happens and I don't even have to do anything. And I just gain life because y'all just duke it out with each other.
We all
So what
have
do-
our own demons to fight, and mine are drain effects. So the meat hook massacre, I agree with Krim that X doesn't have to be very high for it to feel worth it, because a lot of the times you just need to get like the clutter out of the way, get the chump blockers out of the way, in which case X might not have to be very high. But I think a lot of decks can play it as a clean Wrath, because like you're like, okay, but X might have to be a lot. Okay, you're in black. You're in like the coffers color, or maybe you're playing a Nykthos deck or something. Or if this is in a Golgari deck, you could just ramp the good old fashioned honest way with rampant growths and 3 visits and open the ways and whatnot, right? So you can actually get X to be pretty high in a decent amount of decks. But even then, if it's just an enchantment that's staying on the battlefield that's draining here and there, that's honestly enough to kind of put it out of the way. I think a card that is really kind of fits that same category that I don't think it's on our list today is I think it's Suture Priest, right? It's like a soul warden for your side, but then when your opponents have creatures, then they lose life. I think this kind of plays a similar role where it's just a little bit of incidental damage here and there, a little bit of life gain here and there. So it probably kills some creatures when it comes down, and then it gets to stick around and gain some life and do some damage. And I think it's worth it. I don't think you jam it in every black deck, but you can play it in, I think, most black decks, and it will put in work.
But Suture Priest only heals you when you play something, right?
Krim doesn't want
yeah,
to
so
play
you would-
creatures. He just
Yeah,
wants
yeah,
to
you would have
kill
to
yours.
play-
Yeah.
It's no
Yeah.
Soul Warden. It's no Soul
Yeah, yeah.
Warden.
This
Meat
is a
Hook is the third
very-
best Wrath in black. I don't know what you guys are smoking, and
man,
it's only
you really love it.
it's only
I
because of the
agree.
life gain. Like if you remove the life gain aspect of it, it's just Black Sun Zenith, and no one cares about that card, right? Like Black Sun Zenith is actually better because it adds counters and like permanently shrinks. So if you miss the Wrath, but
And you
it's
never move
because
out.
you slam this down, you gain 10 life, right? Stuff happens, another board wipe goes up, you gain another 10 life, right? And then if your opponent is so scared by this, they fire off removal to kill the Meat Hook Massacre. You don't care because you already wrathed and gained 10 life, right? So
Yeah.
this actually is the third. Like it's a Toxic Deluge, Blasphemous Edict, then Meat Hook Massacre, right?
Man,
like-
damnation, Richard. Damnation. You
played
always leave out
Damnation?
damnation.
Oh my
Damnation
I've-
is not.
I've never played Damnation.
I don't think Damnation.
Really?
is
None of you
four
play
anymore, man.
damnation anymore?
Wow.
It's-
I'm
getting blown up
starting
by a
to take
Cobra.
out
Maybe I'm just
Damnation.
a boomer. Yeah, I guess I'm just a boomer. Boomer black
Look, I
Raptor.
love Damnation. That's got a special spot in my heart, but not anymore. Richard's right, though. All the things he just mentioned. Again, a key point is that it's so cheap and so versatile, and you don't even have to do stuff sometimes to just get that life gain. You just sit there and people will just do it for you.
No one
Alright,
keeps track,
alright.
right? You just keep
Yeah,
feeling
no one
life.
keeps track.
You're like,
You-
why are you so high? What's going on? Right? You're like, yeah, don't worry.
Yeah, you're probably right. I have seen people just run it out on turn 2 for 2 mana and have it still be worth it, which I guess is
Oh,
a
that's
testament
scary.
to the fact that the
That's
life gain
aristocrat
has to
stuff.
actually
Yeah.
it has to actually be good, right? Like the life gain has to be good because then you're not wrapping anything at all and you're still doing it. So, all right, so where are we putting this one? Are we arguing it should be alongside a Chroma's Will in the A tier or the S tier, or is it like high A?
It should be
I
above
would
a Chromas.
technically, by everything that we're talking about today, I would say it's higher than a Chroma.
Really?
I
You'd have
love
it
a
number
Chroma's
1
Will.
card so far. Okay.
So if you
I-
remove life gain off
Yeah.
the Chromas Will, everyone would still play it. If you remove the life gain off Meat Hook, no one
Okay.
would play it.
That's
Right?
fair. But for
That
a
might- that
life
might be
gain
true.
purpose,
Yeah.
but for life gain purposes and in black, I think because it has the life gain text, it's so good.
All right. Well, we'll put it. I can't put it the number 1 card because I had it in the B tier and we had another A tier
Wait,
ranking.
wait,
So,
wait.
okay.
As the control of the tier list, you're supposed to be neutral, Seth.
All right. All right. We'll put it number 1. We'll put it number 1. You got it. You guys win. You'll win.
You gotta find
lovers.
another card to take its place.
All right. So y'all love wraths that gain life apparently. So let's talk about another wrath that gains life in Fumigate. So Fumigate, 5 mana wrath in white. You blow up all the creatures, and then you gain a life for each creature that was blown up that way. So if there's 10 creatures, you gain 10 life. If there's 20, you gain 20. If there's 0, you gain 0. So an overcosted wrath that gains you some amount of life. Ranking-wise, Richard hates this card, D tier. Morgan and Krim came in at the C tier. I put it in the B tier because I do
can't
actually
believe
play
you
it in life
disrespected
game
Meat Hooks
decks.
by putting it
I-
in the same.
Yeah, this is not the same card. These are not
Wow.
the same cards.
They're roughly the same, right? You kill some stuff, you gain some life. They're pretty much the same. Okay, what? Well, then explain to me, why is this so much worse? Why for the viewers out there, why is Fumigate so much worse than Meat Hook Massacre, even though they both gain life and clear the board?
The biggest thing for me is that if you just pay 1 more mana in white, you have all of the really flexible board wipes, or you have like board wipes that you can control more,
Like Austere
few-
Commands and Farewells, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Like, and you what? You want to just pay 1 less life and gain some amount of life. It doesn't hit indestructible creatures. It doesn't give you the modality. So I would rather almost always. I would still. I gave it a C. I didn't give it a D. I would still play this in life gain decks, but even then, like. I'd still rather just play the Farewells and the Austere Commands because they're more flexible. Or you also just get into like the Organic Extinctions and stuff, the like really one-sided board wipes and stuff. So I just 5 mana, destroy all creatures, gain some life just doesn't sound good.
I played in my Hope deck as a meme, but like in reality, I know this card is in a game. Meat Hook Massacre will gain you so much more life than this one-off spell that is also clunky. Which is like why I'm okay with Meat Hook costing more to mass sweep, because it gets around indestructible, like Morgan had mentioned, right? There's lots of things that just get indestructible passively now. So I like something that can get around it, and on top of that, sit around all game. You'll feel the effects of a Meat Hook Massacre, and on top of that, like Richard mentioned a little bit earlier, Meat Hook Massacre, more often than not in most games, will fly under the radar, because no one will think much about it until you're at like 1,000,000 life.
It's true. I think that's the big difference, right? Is the difference between Meat Hook sits around and gains life all game. This is a one-shot, and Fumigate's not especially efficient as far as Wraths go. White has some really good Wraths, and this is just like a little overcosted for what it does. But Richard, you hate this card the most out of all of us. Why do you hate it so much?
Okay, if you said Richard, next week's theme is Wrath.deck, where everyone plays 30
Wait,
Wraths.
you're
in
still
the
not
deck.
going to play it?
I'm not even sure this makes it.
No!
And not because I'm metagaming saying like there's no creatures, right? But like literally if I just ranked the best white sweepers,
Wow.
this is probably like 20th or something, right? Like as opposed to in black, Meat Hook is actually just straight up the 3rd. But like Morgan said, there's all the sweepers that sweep everything, right? And the ability to sweep enchantments, artifacts, graveyards, chances are it'll save you more life than whatever the heck Fumigate is gaining, like 5, 10, right? And unlike Meat Hook, which gains you life for the rest of the game, like Fumigate would actually have to gain you like probably like 2 to 3 life per creature dying to like make up for that. So it's just bad. And white has so many better Wraths that I would just never play this. Even in my life gain deck, I wouldn't play this.
That's
right?
what I was going to
Because
ask. Even in
the life
game
gain pieces are going away when you Wrath, so like, I don't even know what you're doing. Like the best is I guess Hope. You Fumigate, then play Hope, but it's so cope here as well. Like
do you think it's good in the Hope deck, Grim? Or is it actually just
Oh no,
for the
it's
memes?
terrible. I just
Okay.
love it. It's a
it's a
it's
flavor
meme.
inclusion.
Yeah. All right. It's probably got to be D tier then. If you all
Do
would
you
even
really
play
think
in
it's B
Hope,
after
you
all
would
is said and
play-
done, Seth? No
So-
way, right?
So my argument was purely that I think it's okay in life gain decks. Like I play it in if I'm just dedicated to gaining life, like the Hope deck or something. I think Fumigate's fine. I think it's not the best at what it does, but it's not so bad that you can't play it. And I think it's like reasonable if all you care about is gaining life. That said, the more we talk about it, I would probably put it in a C tier now. Would probably be my vote. So I think it's probably worse than a B tier because I don't even know if I play it in every life gain deck. Although I do think Richard's maybe slightly too harsh. I don't think
No.
it's not the 30th best, the
E,
30th
F,
best Wrath in white.
V. Okay, here's the trap that everyone falls into, which I know people love, right? Like I'm playing a life gain deck. Then we put cards that have the word life gain on them, and I
Yeah.
synergize, right? But
You
I'm
do the
like,
Scryfall search. Dump
when
them all
you
in.
fumigate and you get your synergies off, it's still worse than the staple Wraths. Like the Farewell will outperform the Fumigate even with all your synergies, right? Which is why it sits in the D tier, right? Like our Revelation is still better than whatever synergies you had with Fumigate and Life Gain. Which is why it sucks, right? Like it has to be some
All right.
insane synergy that overtakes Farewell, right? But it doesn't, right?
You've convinced me. You convinced me. It's going in the D tier. We're putting it in the D tier. You'll
Yes!
win. You'll win. I'm gonna
We
stop.
did it.
I won't play it anymore. You did it.
You never
right,
played it. Stop kidding yourself.
Yeah.
I played it once. I did. I promise. We need a palate cleanser here. Let's play a card that I think we all agree is very good and one of my most played life gain spells, which is Shadow Sphere. Our first equipment today. Shadow Sphere, 1-mana equipment. Equip creature gets +1/+1 trample and lifelink. You can pay 1 to make permanents your opponents control lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, and you can pay 2 to equip it to something. And this is a card that we ranked very highly. S's across the board, except for Richard came in as an A. And this is my go-to if I'm building a deck that has a lot of creatures in it, doubly so if it has like Urza Saga or Trinket Mage effects, the new Tezzeret, something that can find 1-mana things. This is my go-to incidental life gain effect. Like, it's really cheap, it's super efficient, equipping it's only 2 mana, and every once in a while you get some value out of making stuff lose hexproof and indestructible, which doesn't come up often, but every once in a while it does. So I play this in basically any deck that has a lot of creatures, and I think it's worth it. But what do you guys say about Shadow Sphere?
My guy. Let me ask you. Did you say doesn't come up often? Have you seen the cards in 2025? Dude,
I cannot
everything
think
has indestructible and hex.
honestly,
So, so would
we
you
all
rather
play
would you
this.
rather pay a bunch of mana into Meathook Massacre to get rid of Indestructible, or would you rather pay 1 mana to activate the Shadow Spear and then just cast a normal Wrath?
Like,
So
it is all
Okay, well, Meathook is a different world, but I will say. This card, when it came out, there's a reason I was high on it, and I bought so many, and it was like a couple of dollars.
Ooh.
And I said that this would be just an auto-include in most decks, because I'm tired of everything getting hexproof and indestructible, and it's just really cheap, efficient life gain, and it still stands the test of time in the current year, right? Okay, well, it did only come out 5 years ago, but the main thing here is it's so good. It's still so good, and I am so happy I have so many Shadow Spheres.
The funny thing is I play this in literally every deck I can, and I don't think I've ever activated the lose hexproof and indestructible ability. And I still think it's S tier. I should play it in every deck. If that text wasn't on there, I would still put it in S tier. But Richard, what do you think? Like, does that text matter? Where are you at with Shadow
No, I
Sphere?
put 0 value in it because all my wraths get
What?
indestructible, and I play no single target removal, right? So like, I don't care about that
Oh.
second mode. What I care is strapping my big beefy 8/8 or my Voltron Commander with this and going to town. It's searchable off Urza Saga. Having said that, I don't play it that often. I only play it when I have like a very big commander, and I have some equipment synergies. Because if I'm just using it strictly to gain life, then they're better cards in my opinion. So it's only when I care about trample and lifelink, which usually means like I have really, really big creatures. Like my commander's going to get really big, and I want to give it evasion and then gain life on top of that.
Richard,
that's-
Seth,
That's fair.
guys, I think I figured it out why you don't ever see that. You don't activate that mode because the people don't cast the card into the thing that obviously nullifies
That-
it.
I mean, that-
I'm not gonna.
that
That's
could
true,
be.
right?
That
That's
could be.
like
Yeah.
no one knows the meat hook is coming, so they cast all their things or they pass
Yes.
holding up their indestructible spell. But you have to play Shadow Spear at sorcery speed, and then everyone knows that they're not safe, and then they won't play their things into it, right?
If you have a hexproof thing, why would you run it out until you can answer the Shadow Sphere? Yeah, that makes
So
sense. And I
this
think
is a
also,
counter
Grim,
spell.
I
This
will
is a
also
counter
say
spell.
It stacks.
Oh,
I guess.
It's
It's
the
stacks.
Stack? Yeah, this is the stack.
I will say, Grim, I think you like it more too because you play way more targeted removal than I do. And I think if you're a targeted removal believer, then this goes up in value because you can snipe some of that stuff. And if I kind of like Richard, if I don't play much targeted removal, like it's just not as valuable. But I can see why it'd be really good in a Grim deck. So are we in agreement? S tier? Like I know Richard, you were a little low on it, but
Okay, give you
it's
guys
gotta
S
be,
tier.
right? But
It's
we'll put it
fine.
at the bottom. We'll put it at the bottom
It's so
for
cheap
you.
and mana efficient.
It's
like
a card,
come on,
though.
yeah.
It's a card that gets swept up in your farewell, right? Like it's
Eh,
Oh!
there's a world where you play it, gain 4 life, and it disappears. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Like, and you're down a card and you just gained 4 life, right?
This is
There's
what
a
the
world
people
where that
missed.
happens.
Farewell every 5
Especially
seconds.
if you're like, if you're like a Voltron deck or something, you are like deathly afraid of Shadow Spear. People will actively hunt it down and remove it, right? So like you're kind of going negative by playing it. So it has uses, but I don't know.
Let's let's move on. Let's move on to another one, and we're gonna do a twofer here. We haven't talked about any green cards yet, and green can gain some life, and these cards are similar enough, and we rank them, I think, similarly, and I think we actually rank them literally together. That we're just gonna do them together, and those cards are Disciple of Freyalise and also Lifestream's Blessing. So, Disciple of Freyalise, it's a MDFC, which I think makes it the better of the two, but it's a 6-mana on the front side for a 3/3 when it enters. You can sack another creature. If you do, you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is a creature's power. And then Lifestream's Blessing. This one, I almost don't know if it should be on here exactly, but it's 6 mana, instant. Draw X cards, where X is the greatest power among creatures that you controlled as you cast this spell. And you can foretell it for 5 mana. And if you cast it from exile after foretelling it, you gain twice that life, twice the life of the power of the creature, your greatest power creature. So pretty similar, where you're drawing cards equal to greatest power creatures you control. Disciple of Freyalise, you got to sack the creature. Lifestream's Blessing, you got to foretell it first or somehow cast it from exile to be able to actually gain life off of it. Otherwise, it's just card draw. We gave these all S, 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 and an A on these from Morgan came in at the A. I play Disciple of Freyalise in like every deck. The other one, Lifestream's Blessing, I do play. I just play it like a spell, though. I don't try to foretell it and cast it from exile to gain life, honestly. I just cast it like a Rishkar's Expertise and draw a bunch of cards, so I don't think I've ever gained life off of it. But it's cool that you have the option. But where are you guys at with these green life-gaining card draw spells?
You don't play the foretell part of Lifestream. First off, this card is under $1, and it's wild to me. But second off, that foretell mode is very nice because this has the beautiful word on the text box. See that? It says instant. And I love my instants. This card is so sweet, and you only tuck it away for 2 mana, and you stock it up and sew it away for a later
that's
creature,
so worth
right?
it.
It's
And
that
also
makes
it's
it
on-
alone so good.
It's also on cast, so even if like they removed your biggest creature or something,
Yeah.
you still get
It is what I think the best, maybe the best Rishkar's Expertise effect. Being an instance really, really, really huge on it, and the way it's worded is really good. So I think it's very good. I just don't
And-
put much value in trying to foretell it first, but maybe I should focus on foretelling it. Are you a foreteller, Richard? Do you try to foretell it?
I mean, if I have leftover mana, sure.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if I'm not
mana.
doing anything, of course, right? But your ideal green curve is rampant growth into, open the way, open path or something into like actually play to the board. So you don't have time to play this, but obviously if you're passing the turn with 2 mana up, then you go ahead and foretell this. But usually you're just snapping it off on 6 and like very happy with what you're getting. So yeah, I would play. Disciple is like on another level, right? Like
yeah,
Blessing
Disciple.
is still a card. Disciple is literally a land. Like it doesn't even cost you a slot in your deck. So Disciple actually goes everywhere, and then Lifestream's Blessing comes in when you need Soul's Majesty.
Those big
Rishkar's
green-
Expertise, Last March of the Ents. Like when you're playing those kind of effects, then Lifestreams is an auto include as well.
If Lifestreams did not have the life gain text on there, I think I would play it just as much. I think that, like, I don't think I play it because I'm drawing a ton of cards with it. Actually, the same of Disciple of Freyalise. Like an MDFC that draws me a ton of cards, that's enough.
I didn't
So
even
the
know
life
it
gain's
gained
a nice
life.
bonus. I don't know if
If
I've
your
ever gained
commander's
life off of
Galta
it,
and you
just draw
gain
the
like
cards.
20 life, that's crazy.
But I drew 20 cards.
20
That's the
cards.
headliner here. Is I drew 20 cards. But I think Disciple of Freyalise definitely S tier. Where are we putting Lifestream's Blessing now that we talk about it? I feel like it can't be in the same tier as Disciple of Freyalise.
It's
because
definitely not.
It's not as good, right? It's got to be a little bit below it. So
Bottom
where do
of
we put
S.
this one?
A somewhere in there. It's still very
Somewhere.
Lifestream's Blessing is like an A.
So if
But
Okay.
I think it is very, very good, and it's criminal. It's under $1.
If I could
Yeah.
say, the only reason I gave these an A instead of an S is because there are so many similar effects, and I think that there are some decks you just run all of them. Why not? Why not just deck yourself? But I think that there are they're all slightly different enough that you really have to think about which ones you want to play. And I don't think it's fair to say any of them are strictly better than each other. And also, Disciple of Freyalise, I would say the one notch against it is you have to sacrifice the creature. If you want big creatures on the board and now you got rid of your big creature, you don't have a big creature anymore. So I think most of the time that's still worth it. But
Look at
just
Morgan trying to close out the game instead of drawing cards.
Trying to win.
So I'm just saying that they're all different. They're slightly different enough that it's worth considering the minute differences across them. I think they're all great, and I would play some number, if not all, of these style of cards in my big green decks. But I just thought that was worth mentioning. That's
You
why I
actually
did
don't
get
play
it.
all of them? I feel like if I play one, I play all.
My Yargle and Multani deck, I run all of them. But
Yeah.
if I'm just playing like any other green deck, I would run like some of them, not all of them necessarily.
getting-
Because at this point, there's so many of them.
Right, we're getting close to the point where you actually have to prioritize a little bit, unless you're, because we're getting up to, I think, close to 10 of them now. There's probably 6 or 7, and they just keep adding more. So we are going to get to the point soon where you are going to have to prioritize. But are we good with this? Fraley's in the S tier, and a tier down for Lifestream's Blessing. We'll accept that. All right, let's go with a pure life gain. Krim, I know you know this one because this card spiked from like bulk to $20 because of a commander you really like, which is Hope Estiub. And that is Beacon of Immortality. Beacon of Immortality is 6 mana, instant speed, double target player's life total, which by the rules does count as life gain, and then you shuffle it back into your deck. So if you're at 40, you go up to 80. If you're at 1, you go up to 2. Not great for 6 mana. It really depends on what your life total is. This is a card that we gave Bs across the board. I view this as really good in Hope, essentially, in life gain decks. If your deck is a Bilbo or Hope and it's about how much life can I gain, this is one of the cards that can gain you the most life. But it's definitely not a Soul Warden that you play in every deck because I'm going to gain incidental life because it's just way too expensive and way too risky because if you get beat down before you cast this, it's just not going to gain you that
I
much
can
life.
double
But
my 2 life to 4.
got him.
Yay!
No, I this is a life gain spell, but it's secretly a kill condition, right? In Hope.
Yeah.
So that is why I think this card is really good. This is just one of those things where it's a very narrow card and has its very specific homes.
Also good with
I
like,
don't
the
like
Sanguine
generic.
Bond kind of combo stuff, right? Like
Yeah,
whenever you gain
yeah.
life, opponent loses. So you got to be doing stuff like that, I think. Does anyone play
Yeah.
generically? Morgan or Richard? Do you guys, or is it a combo piece basically?
See, every time I try to play it fairly, which I have before, I have tried playing them fairly, everyone just fears the combo. It doesn't matter. I could be like,
Yeah.
look at my deck list. I swear I'm not playing the combo.
I will
They don't
show
ca-
you
they don't
every
care.
card.
They don't care. So I don't play them fairly anymore.
Yeah, it does nothing.
Right,
like
yeah,
six mana
It's
is
too
much.
expensive.
Yeah, it needs to kind of win the game, and that only
Which
that,
it
that's a
does.
combo, right? Yeah, I mean, if you combo with it
In the
then
right
that's
deck.
great.
All right, let's move on to a card that I'm not sure why this card is on the list. Phil added this to our spreadsheet before taking off on vacation. I'm not sure why we're talking about this card. The Haunt of Hightower. It's a 6 mana 3/3 legendary vampire with flying and lifelink. Whenever it attacks, defending player discards a card. Whenever a card is put in an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, put a +1/+1 counter on Haunt of Hightowers. So this card, I gave it a, oh no, where did it go? I gave it a C, which I regret, and I'm moving it to D as we speak. Richard also gave it a D. Morgan and Krim gave it Bs.
What?
Who plays this
Okay,
card?
all
What
right,
deck
all
do
right,
you put this
all
card
right.
in?
I have a confession to make. I could let Phil take the heat, but I was the one who added this card.
I thought it was Phil. I'm
Did
sorry,
you buy
Morgan.
50 Haunt of Hightowers? What's going on?
Yeah, this is the
Explain
long
to me,
con with the
Morgan.
MTG Finance. No, okay, so I have a buddy who plays this in his Gyruda mill deck, and every time this comes down, it actually puts in work because it gets huge because it's as you're milling, it's getting big. It only needs 1 or 2 attacks to gain so much life that it makes a big difference in whether or not you can take him out efficiently. So
Okay.
it's 6
can
mana,
see
so
that.
like I wouldn't play it in many decks, but specifically because it's a Gyruda
6
deck, so you
mana.
have to So I wouldn't play it very often, but it does get so big so fast, especially in like mill archetypes and stuff, that it can gain enough life. And mill decks also just draw a lot of hate, even though they don't necessarily deserve the hate. So that life gain actually is semi-relevant, right? Like Krim's Hope deck. The fact that it's gaining life buys you more time because everyone's like, oh, I can't believe Krim's milling me. So it kind of bounces out. It's not a great card, but I thought it would be funny to bring it up since no one talks about this card.
I caught me by surprise. I got to ask you, Krim. When I think of mill, I think of Krim. What do you think of this good in mill theory?
Well, that's because I do it. It's in my Lazov deck. And
Yeah.
There's
for
2
those
of
exact-
them. Oh.
Yeah, so like it's in my Lazov deck. It cooks, dude. It cooks so hard in the right deck. And it's 6 mana, but in reality, I'm never actually casting this. I'm either copying it from the graveyard or doing some kind of shenanigans and reanimating it, right? But this card in the right shell is a win condition. But that is why I give it a B, because it's not real. This is going to be like a Chroma's Will for me. It's not your traditional life gain spell. It's not my early mid-game life gain spell. This is my win condition, right? I am going to kill you with this, much like I will with a Chroma's Will. So is it a good life gain card? Would I have put it on here? No, I don't know how this got on the list, but I will say that it is awesome to see, and I do play it, but it's a win condition, not for a life gain spell.
Has this changed your vote, Richard? We were both at D's. Has anything Morgan or Crib said made you want to bump it up?
I played a Haunt of Hightower deck on Commander Clash, I'm pretty sure. This was one of my
As your commander?
Yeah, as my commander. One of my meme
There's
commander
your problem.
decks. And it's still a D. I can put it into my Thoracle deck or my Yuriko deck, and it's going to do work because the rest of the deck is going to carry it so hard. So I don't buy the Garuda argument.
What about
it's
Lazav?
literally like, I don't know, man. It's like Baneslayer Angel or something. It's just a big life linker that needs to untap, swing, and connect. And I don't think you're putting this in, but it's a funny meme finisher. I'm sure you can build around any card and make it a finisher, right? So, yes.
I don't think you guys have changed my grade. I'm keeping it at D personally, but I can see now that you've described it how, like, in the right situation on the right board, say how this card could pop off, which is something I hadn't really thought about before. Like, I could see this with Garuda, like one-shot killing someone or something. So, and getting a huge amount of life to make it hard for anyone to kill you on the backswing. So I could imagine scenarios where it would be good, but I'm still not going to put it in my decks, I don't think.
Well, that's probably correct.
This is one of the win conditions, though, in my mill deck. Like, this is the card I'm looking for and hoping to mill. So I am going to say it is a powerhouse when it's not your commander.
Look, if I have to build this Xenomorph deck, it's coming in, okay?
Okay.
It looks like an alien. I don't know why. It's a vampire, but yes.
Well, we'll just split it. We had 2 Bs and 2 Ds. We're going to put it in the C tier and call it close enough. All right, let's move on to a white card, which is just a card that I don't think I've seen C play on Commander Clash, but it was fairly highly ranked on EDHREC, and that is Revitalize. Revitalize, 2-mana white instant, gain 3 life, draw a card. I had it as a D, Richard had it as a D, Krim has it as a D. Morgan, you came in as a C. Is this in your mill deck or something, Morgan? Did your friend pop off with it? Okay.
No.
What do you think about Revitalize?
I mean, in a Hope deck, right?
It's just like a bad cantrip. Like, if you're just like a deck that cares about cantrips, then like it probably crosses your mind. I don't know why it's so high on EDHREC, but I think if you're a cantrip deck that has white, you might consider it. It's not very good. If you're in blue, it probably doesn't make the cut, but yeah.
Morgan,
Seems
you are right. I would
close.
consider it. As in, I would cast Consider and surveil it to the graveyard and hope I don't draw it.
Yeah,
Because this is so bad.
we need a 1-mana version of this. Once we get the 1-mana version, I think that would actually be a white cantrip that I would probably play. Like 1 mana, gain 3 life, draw a card. Then we're actually talking 2 mana. I think it's just a little too much mana. Even for the decks that would want it, that are like slinging spells and stuff, I think it's just a little too pricey, but I don't know. Anyone else have an argument?
I just built an Azorius cantrip deck, and this is not in there.
Oh,
so.
see, that's a sign it should be in the D tier then.
It needs to be 1 Phyrexian white mana, and then I would play it, maybe.
For sure. Richard wants the free
I think I've actually played this card.
The Phyrexian mana is irrelevant. It pays for itself.
Yeah, the Aetherflux Reservoir decks, like if you're playing mono white Storm, you could like be desperate and go here. But this is another classic example of people like, I'm a life gain deck. This card cantrips. It doesn't cost me a card, so I'll play it. But I'm like, it's 2 mana. Like, you don't typically load your blue decks of ops and considers and all those things, right? Because it's still a mana you're paying to cycle, right? Like it's not costing you a card, but it's costing you a mana. And gaining 3 life randomly is probably not worth the 2 mana, even if you are a life gain deck.
Yeah, I'm going to bump it down to a D.
All right.
I don't know why it's so high in EDHREC.
It's going. Oh, I should say, so by high on EDHREC, I went through like a few pages of the most popular life gain spell. So it's probably like the 100th most popular or something. But people do play it on occasion. All right, let's keep going. We got a few more cards to get through. Let's wrap it up with our final white card that we're going to talk about today, or mono white card at least. And this card used to be a Commander Clash staple, but that was a while ago. And that is True Conviction. So True Conviction, 6 mana white enchantment, says creatures you control have double strike and lifelink. And this is a card that got C's across, well, actually not C's across the board. I gave it a C, Richard gave it a C, Morgan gave it a B, Krim gave it a D. I feel like if we were doing this podcast 7 years ago, we would be putting this as like an A tier card, because I used to play this in all my white creature decks where this was just like one of my finishers. It would gain a ton of life, you get double strike, you play this. But since then, in the last 7 years, 10 years, however long it's been, white has just gotten so much better. Commander has gotten so much stronger overall. White has so many other finishers now, so many other ways to gain life, like Akroma's Will, for example. I don't think I put a True Conviction in my deck since like 2020 or something. But where are you guys at with True Conviction? Am I missing anything on this one?
So I put it a little bit higher because the problem we were talking about with the Chroma's Will earlier is that if you're like a little dude's white deck, right, that the one attack you get with the double strike and whatnot probably isn't enough. True Conviction, because it's an enchantment and gets to sit on the battlefield, assuming that you don't have to deal with the board wiper, you are in white, you do have protection against a lot of board wipes, because it's an enchantment, so some colors just straight up can't remove it. You actually get several uses out of that, quote, overrun effect. You do have to be pretty heavy in white because it's a 6 mana, 3 specifically white pips. So, Richard could never play this in a deck now. But I think if you're just like a little dude's white deck, but you need some finishers, it's at least worth considering, especially if you have synergies with the lifelink, you have synergies with the enchantments. There are decks that I would still play this in. And I think in those decks, it's really good, and that is categorically a B according to the criteria we've set ourselves.
Okay, that's
I
a fair
don't
argument.
know what deck would want this personally because of the power creep of where we are in 2025, right? Like, I think this is 6 mana, do nothing. This is like like Chroma's Will is 4 mana. Yes, obviously it's good, but it's hidden. It's concealed information. No one knows about it, and you can get people out of there. But like, this is just going to sit on the board. It's obvious that it's going to be up to no good. On top of that,
you have no creatures by turn 6?
No. I mean, you can have all the creatures, but imagine you swing and I blow this up and then block. Right?
Sure.
But I think this is just regardless of these corner pocket situations, I'm talking about it's just 6 mana. And you have so many things you could be doing like way earlier in the curve. There's so many better cards at this slot.
Where are you at? I know you used to play this a lot, Richard.
We played this before Chroma's Will was invented, and
Yup.
before Moonshaker was invented. I guess I was gonna say you play it budget, but it's like a $4 card. It's not even even
Really?
budget.
Yeah.
Maybe like if you're playing with enchantments or something, but like
Yeah.
double strike is just not enough, and you can't put this down. If you put this down early, everyone will kill you or it. You know what I mean? Like if you don't have a strong enough board, you're not killing anyone. You can't play this, right? So you only play this when you can kill. And I already said Chroma's Will wasn't strong enough to finish to my liking. Like, that gives you way more stuff, right? Like, this is just double strike. That's not enough. Like, I think I would play Beacon of Immortality before I try the True Conviction. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I think more life can be gained with
Oh my
Beacon of
God.
Immortality than True Conviction.
I disagree with that. My take is I think True Conviction is still fine. I just don't play it anymore because I think there's just better things. So I would not be embarrassed to put this in a deck. And I think it would still, like, you play it, you swing, you gain a bunch of life, you gain a bunch of damage. I think it'll still do its job. I think there's just, for pretty much every deck, a better card to do that job now. So I just don't really play it anymore. But I don't think that means True Conviction is, like, bad. It's just, like, kind of got power crept a little bit. But it still gains life. It still gives double strike. But I think it is.
Chump,
For me,
farewell.
Yeah.
You gained
Yeah.
10 life. Good job, boys. Like, it doesn't finish. It needs it needs trample
Yeah.
or flying or something to help it actually finish, right?
This isn't going to sway Richard's opinion, but the double strike with the life link actually is nice because however much life you think you're going to gain, you're actually going to gain twice that much life. But I know that's not going to sway anyone's opinion. I just wanted to point that out there.
I think the other thing that happened with this card is it just got way easier to kill enchantments. Like, from the time this was a staple for us to where we are now, Black got enchantment removal. We got Beseiju, a channel land that blows up. Like, so it's just a lot harder for you to stick an enchantment long term than it was a while ago. But I think we'll keep it in the C tier. We're kind of quibbling a little bit. bit. None of us thought it was like a busted S tier card or anything, so we'll put it in the C. This Hightower cannot be C tier, can it? Every time I look at this Hunt of the Hightower, I'm like, why is this card? Why is this
Hightower
card
is
here?
better than True Conviction. I will say that.
I will
goat.
give Hightower the nod over True Conviction.
All right, we'll move it up. All right, let's move on to the one land on our list today, which is Vault of the Archangel. Vault of the Archangel, it's a land. It makes a colorless mana, or you can pay 2 a white and a black, tap it to give creatures you control Death Touch and Lifelink until end of turn. And this is a card that I think we all ranked very highly, if I can find it on here. Richard, what do you think about this one? You love the utility lands. Where are you at with Vault of the Archangel?
Now you know why I put it at B. Let me put the C.
Whoa!
What?
No, you don't like it?
Never play this. Never play this.
Really?
I never played. Like, well, I don't know what. You have to be a go wide token stack, and all you're using it for is like Death Touch. So what's the idea here? You're gonna swing out with your team and gain a bunch of life, but because you spent 5 mana doing this, you don't have the mana to like Akromas or Moonshaker to like, really drive it home. So you're just like being annoying, attacking with like a bunch of medium-sized creatures with lifelink and Death Touch. It's like, it's not. I play a lot of colorless lands. It's not worth the colorless land slot to play the Vault, I don't
Man, that
This
has
is-
me
that-
kind of shook, because if Richard doesn't think this card is good and he plays colorless lands like you wouldn't believe, that's definitely not a vote of confidence.
Like you
I
you
think
have
this
to be able to
card is-
combo with the finisher. It's too much mana to do
okay.
that, right?
My argument is the cost is low enough that it's actually worth including in most Orzhov decks. I think you got to be Orzhov, right? So you can't play it in monocolor because of color identity. I think once you get to 3, definitely to 4 and 5 colors, then I think there's just not enough room for this land because there's other colorless lands I want better. But I think in Orzhov in specific, I think this is worth running in basically any deck that's playing a bunch of creatures in Orzhov. Like, yes, you won't activate it that much. Yes, sometimes you're not going to gain that much life, but it still just offers value from the mana base. You can play defense with it. You can play offense with it. You can force through damage with it. You can buffer your life total. So I actually think it's still a very good Orzhov card. Richard, or Krim and Morgan, you gotta break the tie on this one. What do you guys think?
The opportunity cost is just so low. It's an untapped land. You could just activate it whenever. So a lot of the nice things I said about True Conviction, it's doubly so, if not more, with Vault of the Archangel, because it's just in your mana base. The opportunity cost is so low, and it's repeatable. Like, the part of what I said nice about True Conviction is that you can get multiple uses out of it. That's like the one thing you could say it's better about than, say, like an Akroma's Will or something. Vault of the Archangel is the same thing, except it's a land. And, a lot of casual groups just don't touch lands. So it's even safer than like a True Conviction or something like that. The opportunity cost is so low. It's just an untapped land at the end of the day. So yeah, I think in most Orzhov decks, you could just play it.
We gotta bust up the utility land tier list, and I guarantee you in Orzhov, I could rattle off like 20, 30 lands you'd want to play above this, and you're into the Richard territory of 2 basics.
Really?
Right? Like, you guys say this, but trust me, I max out my mana base with as much utility as possible, and cuts are always made, and there's never room for Vault. You know what I mean? Like, you're running the meme mana base of like 20 colorless sources and like 17 colored sources, and you still can't fit it. So I don't know, man. Like, have we ever seen Vault on Commander Clash after like 18 seasons? We've seen it like twice. It's like very
Not in a
rare we ever
while.
see it.
Not in a while,
Right?
Yeah.
That's because but that's only because we're doing themes every week and whatnot, right? So like, but if it were up
it's
to
free.
me, my
It's your
normal,
mana base, any Orzhov deck should be able to slot it in, right?
how often
I would
do
have
you
to double
play?
check this.
Okay,
I would
So
have to
here,
double check
I-
the
I
stats.
have
I don't
this
think
as
people
S.
play Orzhov very often.
No, that might be
I-
part of it.
I have it as an S because obviously in my Mardu deck, my humans deck, and my Mr. Negative deck, dude, this card is just a house, right? Because you either swing with it and you kind of put the opponent now and every other opponent in a situation where, hey, I either block and lose my board entirely, or they just get a free attack in. This essentially reads almost like Rogue's Passage for your team. Because if I
Okay.
just send if I just send
like
in
that.
a bunch of 1/1s, right? Like I have some combat rewarding trigger. Do you block or not? If you do, you lose your board. and I gain a ton of life. So no matter what, I feel like I'm in a win-win situation. You want to block you remove my 1/1s, great. But if you don't, I'm going to get a silly amount of combat triggers. I'm going to gain life either way. At the end of all of this, the only way I don't is if you fog me. And then this is just such a powerful combat trick and a defensive tactic as well. So for those exact same reasons, I could leave my team back, just a bunch of 1/1 poopers, and if you swing into that, they now all have Death Touch. So if we don't swing into a simple Spirited Companion, why would someone swing into a Spirited Companion that has Lifelink and Death Touch, right? So I think this card is an absolute powerhouse of a land. I love it so much that I bought the full art Secret Lair to just put in my 3 decks that could play it. My Humans deck is so good because of it. It's the land I want all the time. And that's a 3-color deck, and I've got like double white, triple white pips in that deck. So
Wow.
I'm willing to break up the on-curve 3-drop if it means that I can play this land. This is like my aggro land.
It's 5 mana. I just block you, Krim, and then either you just jump attacked or you spend your whole turn like trying to trade fairly by activating your land. Like it's still,
But they're all chumps.
I'm all for it.
Everything of mine is all chumps, right? If I swing with an army of just 1/1 2/2s, that adds up. I gain a lot of
my
life.
Solemn Spirit Companion in
But isn't
favorable
that just
manner.
great? Isn't that just worth it a lot of the time because you're because of the Death Touch, you're clearing out a lot of their board. If they want to block, that's fine. You're clearing out a lot of their board. Maybe they have the Solemns and things that they want to die, but I think a lot of the time you're willing to make that trade. And then the lifelink, you're going to gain enough life to
But you
to
see more
combat the.
I don't think you would.
And they call you on it,
trade
you
your
got to go through with it, right? Otherwise, you just jump attacked, right? So you got to spend your whole turn doing this.
I feel like you can get a lot of value out of not activating it, though, right? Isn't just like the threat of it enough to
think
force
so.
through
a decent amount of damage a lot of time? Because people are gonna be like, oh, well, if I do block, then they'll just do the Death Touch thing, and then I'll lose my creature, so I guess I'm taking it. And then you can use your turn casting other things. So I think like maybe just the threat of like having this on the battlefield, attacking and then playing stuff post combat main phase, like maybe that's enough to make it good.
Someone send me a DM the next time we see Vault of the Archangel on Commander class. You guys speak so highly of this card like we never ever see, right? Like I get the theoreticals, but like it comes up so rarely that we don't ever put it in our deck, right? And we never
The
get
real
to use
question. The real question is where does this leave us on this tier list? Like where are we actually putting this card? We got everything from S tier to C tier or D tier on this one.
I mean, it sounds like it's an A, right?
Rounded out to an A. Yeah,
Krim and I cancel out and it ends up in A,
Yeah,
even though
then we end up with the A's.
clearly wrong.
All right, wait, three more cards to go. Next up, we have Crypt Incursion. Crypt Incursion. This is a 3-mana black instant. It says exile all the creature cards from target player's graveyard. You gain 3 life for each card that is exiled this way. So Crypt Incursion, speaking of cards that I feel like I haven't seen much, it seems like on paper that this card could gain a ridiculous amount of life, but I've never seen it happen, and we are all over the place on this one, from Krim in a D to Richard in an A with me and Morgan in between at B and C. What do you guys think of Crypt Incursion? Richard, let's start with you. You're the highest on this. Sell us on Crypt Incursion.
Okay, fish memory. For sure, I've played this multiple times on Clash. Has been cast. In the Moto era, though. In the Moto era, because it's hitting like the darkness. Like, do you play Darkness or you play Crypt Incursion, right? But it's basically 3 mana, gain like, I don't know, 30 life, right? And it's Graveyard Hate, which, you know, I don't play any Graveyard Hate, but like this this is a life gain spell with incidental Graveyard Hate. And I think doubling your life total at instant speed is a very strong card. It's like you're playing like any game and you use like all your items, all your special abilities, your ultimates, you kill the boss, and then a second health bar spawns. And you're like, oh my God, it's over, right? Like, that's what the instant speed life gain gives you. Like, no one knows it. They think they got lethal on you, and you just gain 30 out of nowhere, and you continue your merry way. Or you go down to 1 life, and everyone's like, he's kind of dead. I'll finish him off whenever. And you're like, well, 30 life. I'm back in the game. You left me alone for so many turns. Like, here I am, right? So I think this card is great. You guys should all be playing it. And it's Graveyard Hate. You love Graveyard Hate, Krim.
Richard,
Yeah, Krim.
you may not know. I thought y'all put this on here from my PTQ days. I'm talking Junk Rights. It's called Junk back then before Abzan.
Yeah.
And I played Grixis Control, and I needed good graveyard hate to stop losing to stupid Angel of Serenity and all of his blinking. I played Crypt Incursion, and I played it in Korean so that because no one knew what it was, and W didn't know what it was in Korean. So I was a Crypt Incursion fanboy one, okay? But this card is too situational in Commander, okay? Like
I disagree.
this card is way too situational. Yeah, there's gonna be creatures and whatnot, but there's better graveyard hate, and there's better ways to gain life. I agree. Okay, I will agree with Richard. I do like the surprise element of surprise, a second health bar does show up, and that is cool. But that is so situational. And if everything exiles, do you see creatures hitting the graveyard anymore? I've gone through a whole game, and after the amount of sweepers of Sunfallen, most of it by me, and then on top of that, I just don't even see anything in the graveyard except like maybe a land or two. And then and if it's not that, it's all the recursion that happens from creatures as well. So I just don't see creatures in graveyards that much. And because I have Ghost Vacuum.
Okay, so I think Ghost Vacuum. So I think the most obvious place that you would want to play this is like some kind of mill deck, right? Because if you're playing a mill deck, right, then obviously just playing this fairly is really good. But like, what if you're against a Reanimator deck or a Sun Titan deck or a Muldrotha deck? Then you really need to make sure you're running a significant amount of graveyard hate because as you're milling people out, you're maybe feeling their fire. So this is a good safety valve against that. But honestly, I think if you're just like a black deck that can leave its mana up from time to time, it's even better than that because 3 life per creature, there don't have to be that many creatures in a graveyard for you to gain enough life that it can make the difference between life and death. So I think I would slam this in any like mill style deck. But I think if you're just a black deck that can leave its mana up from time to time, I mean, 3 mana is steep, but I don't know. I think it can gain enough life that there doesn't actually have to be that many creatures in there. Like, post-Wrath, someone's got 5 creatures. This gains enough life, doesn't it?
So does it really feel good to waste a slot, though, for a gain 15? Sure. Right? Cool. Like, I don't know. You exile the creature and you gain 15. Is that enough? Like, I just don't feel like that's enough.
Like barring a rest in peace, that's like the floor of the card. You know what I mean? Like, usually you're going to gain a lot more than that. But yeah, it is a whole card.
My concern is just consistency. Like, I know this card is powerful because it used to be like tech to fight against Dredge in Modern, and I definitely remember games
Modern
where this
Mill
game's
play
like
this.
60 life, and it's just like absolutely insane, and like it feels like you can't lose or after you've done it. But in Commander, I wonder, like, is it consistent enough? You can't really cast it early because you need the graveyard to be filled. We talk a lot about farewells and more exile wraths that are not actually letting the creatures go in the graveyard, so they're not in there. Like, I don't know. That would be my concern. I fear that there would be too many games where this is just like sitting in my hand for a big part of the game without really doing anything. But maybe that fear is unfounded because I haven't actually tried playing this card in a Commander deck. Does that not happen, Richard? Like, do you usually find a window where you can fire it off and get some value out of it?
Yeah. I mean, even if Farewell goes off, like, there's going to be a second Wrath at some point, right? All the other stuff's going to hit the bin. Like, I don't know. I don't see it as a downfall, and it gains, like, so much life. It gains so much life. So I really like it, and then it also makes me responsible. You know, in case I run into a Reanimator deck,
you feel like you're.
I'm like, I was like responsible, right?
Right.
So I actually think it's really strong.
I can see bumping it up to B. I think it's at least good if you're like milling and so forth. It's got to be good there. So maybe we'll stick it in the B tier. We got a bunch of Bs and Crim down at the bottom with D. All right, Great Merchant of Asphodel, one of the most famous black cards in all of Commander. 5 mana. 2/4. When it enters, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black. You gain life equal to the amount of life lost this way. Notice the way it's worded. You're going to gain life for each of your opponents losing life. So you gain a really huge amount of life off of Great Merchant of Asphodel. Great Merchant of Asphodel, I play it in pretty much every black deck. I got it at A. Crim has it as A. Richard and Morgan have it as B. It's good, right? Like, every black deck good? Or do you need to be a specific kind of black deck to want Great Merchant to be your life gain?
I've started taking it out because it's too easy.
Yeah.
It's like that's not the problem. It's that it's too easy. It's not that it's good. No one's gonna dispute that.
Yeah. That's fair. I did that with Exsanguinate a while ago, and now I've started
Yeah,
playing
same.
it again because I feel like it got a little less good now. But yes, it does kind of feel a little bit too easy.
Yeah, I think you need to be a black heavy deck. Like if you're like a 4-color deck, are you gonna play this? Probably not. So I think you need to be black heavy, which is why I have it. And you need to be a black deck that plays to the board. So if you're a black Wrath deck or something like that, then
Yeah.
like your pips might not be as high. But I mean, if you're just a black deck with an okay amount, a black heavy deck with an okay amount of permanence, I think it's a slam dunk. But I just think that's not most black decks. So.
I guess that's true.
I mean, let's say I just have Devotion of Gary plus like 3, 5. That's more than enough.
That's
You don't even have to be black heavy, and I play this in my board wipe deck because I know I can bring it back, right? So it's
Then
too
you start
easy. The
looping
card
it
is
in.
too easy in multiplayer. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
I guess you don't need that many pips because you're gaining for each opponent losing life. So in that case
Yeah.
where there's 5 pips, you're
Yeah,
gaining,
that's
15 or something, which is still... And then if you actually are black heavy, you can be gaining 40 life, 50 life pretty easily off this.
I also
So it's
forgot
good,
it's a
right?
zombie. The fact that it's a zombie also makes it kind of crazy. 'cause
zombie,
you can
get Grave
reuse
Every
it.
version.
You can reanimate it. You can rise from the dark realms, your graveyard back. It's easy, but like it also ends the game in a way that you didn't want it to end. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you're a
That's
black
kind of the
mill deck,
problem.
right? You're like, yeah, I'm a black mill deck, and then I'm gonna cast this Grey Merchant to stabilize. Oh, everyone's dead. Sorry, guys.
Yeah,
Right?
oops,
You're
I
like, well,
killed
did you
you.
do what you wanted to do? Like, no. So it's kind of like
It's-
insurrection or something like that, where you just randomly win the game, and then you're like, eh. So I would only play it in a dedicated drain deck or a devotion deck or something. Otherwise, it's too incidentally winning. If that makes sense.
We might have to do a podcast sometime about cards that overshadow the rest of your deck, because I think that's an interesting
Mhm.
topic that we've never talked about, and I think Gary's one of those cards. And I think Black is really bad at that, actually, because you get Exsanguinate, you get Torment of Hailfire, these
Yep.
cards that people like to just play for value, and then sometimes they just like end up taking over and winning the entire game, and you're like, oh, I wanted to be a zombie deck, but I actually just killed everyone because I drew coffers and have Torment of Hailfire. So I think Gary does have a little bit of that problem. So B tier, I guess, is what we're ended up with. A.
It's funny because by everything we've just said, it should be an S tier.
It's really
It
good.
really is
right?
an
It's-
S.
But-
our criticism is it's too good, if anything. So
So where do cards fall that are
Yeah,
too
maybe
good?
just put it
right?
in S then.
right.
I mean,
Maybe
it
we
kind of
change
is
that.
too
Wow.
good.
it kind of is. It kind of is. All right, we have one card to go. First, I need to sneak this Siege Rhino up here. We're not actually talking about it. It's just honorary on top of the S tier. S tier, pay no mind. This card, this is why we brought Richard into this this cast here. For one specific card, a one mana green sorcery, Fruition. It's from Portal. It says you gain a life for each forest you and your opponents have in play. So, Richard, you have used this card to great effect on Commander Clash. You gave it an S. Crib and Morgan gave it a B. I'm not a believer. I gave it a D, but maybe you can win me over to your side. Explain to me why Fruition is such a great life gain spell.
1 mana, gain 28, 30, 40. I don't know how many. It depends on how good at EDH your table is. If everyone's playing mana rocks and stuck on 3 mana, you've won already. It doesn't matter. You can have a dead card in your deck. Right? But if everyone is abusing the mechanics of EDH and like green rampy all over the place, right? Then it's a 1 mana gain 30. And if I'm gonna start the game at double my life total, great. If I can do that as a surprise, like I'm on death's door and I'm just like, surprise guys, I'm at 40 again. It's great. And then you're like, well, Richard, you run no basics. Yeah, that's right. I run no basics, right? You tutor up a Yavimaya, or someone else has a Yavimaya, and you play all the land tutors that tutor non-basics, right? So you can Hour of Devastation, Open the Way, Omen Path, Journey, all that stuff. And 1 mana gain 30. That's like the best card in the game. And
That's
it really
really
only
good, Richard.
struggles versus the fog slot. 1 fog, 1 fruition, 2 fogs. Like, what do we do here, right? Like, you can't overload on these effects, but like,
Right.
so far I go 1 fog, 1 fruition. That's
Really?
my,
So
that's
you-
my go-to.
So you think Fruition is better than the second Fog then in a green deck, probably?
Yes, because
Interesting.
the way you beat fog is you just chip them down, right? 5 damage a turn, 5 damage a turn, 5 damage a turn. I'm at
Yep.
death's door. I'm gonna die, right? What you don't do is be like 6,000 damage in 1 turn. You're like fog, right? So when you get chipped down like that, Fruition is like, okay, cool. You didn't commit to the board. I'm back to 40. What are you going to do now? Right? So I really like having those two modes. And then you never know how to play against me. Right?
So when I read Fruition, I worry that it's like, okay, all it does is gain life, which already makes me a little bit sus of it, right? Like, yes, it could be a lot of life, maybe in the late game, but still, all it is gaining life. And I'm not sure what the bar is. We sometimes have arguments over like how much life would something have to gain for 1 mana to be worth it, and I don't know if Fruition crosses that or not. So that's one concern. The other concern I have is it feels like you got to build a combo for it. Like, not only need Fruition, you need to tutor up another card to make Fruition good. Then you got to wait till people play a bunch of lands and get them on the battlefield, and then you can gain a bunch of life. It sounds like a lot of hoops to jump through just to gain a bit of life. So that's what makes me skeptical of this card. Although I will say that when I've seen Richard actually played on Commander Clash, it has looked legitimately good. You have gained a lot of life with this card. So maybe my concerns are like unfounded, and in practice it just plays super fine because you're green, so you're tutoring up lands anyway, so it's not hard to find the Yavimaya, and then like this is just like super good. What about Crim and Morgan? Like, you guys are in the middle on this one. What do you think about Fruition? Do you play it?
Well, I think the opportunity cost is low because green's pretty good at drawing cards. Green's pretty good at ramping. So if it's just like a dead card sometimes, okay, wait till you cast the Rich Card's Expertise, find something else to do. It's only 1 mana. Oh no, my 1 mana wasn't the most efficient it could have been. I'm green. I have other mana. So the opportunity cost is low enough that I think you could play it. My concern is that if there's not a Yavimaya in play, you have to be mono green in order to justify putting it in your deck to up the likelihood that it gains enough life to be worth it. Now, green doesn't really struggle at finding lands, right? You have like Archdruid's Charm, you have crop rotation. There's definitely ways to find it, but then that's more slots in your deck. And now maybe you're a lands deck already, and you are already going to do that, in which case, fine, this is probably worth it. But you can't rely on everyone else on your table playing green. You can't rely that someone else at the table is going to play the Yavimaya. So that's part of your deck that you have to dedicate to sort of a combo. And at that point, if you're doing this, you could just play a real combo and try winning the game. So I don't know. It's all right. The opportunity cost is low enough that I think you could play it in a lot of green decks, but
I don't think this is. It's fine in like the right decks, right? But I think this is just better to be a second Fog. I would take a second Fog over this card personally.
I think it's what we gotta think about. But Seth, all the complaints you levied against this card are the same complaints that non-Fog believers levy against Fog. It rots in your hand all game. You know, it does nothing. It doesn't win you the game. A Fog is basically gain X life, where X is the biggest attack coming at you.
Right.
If it's like 10 damage and you Fog, well, Fruition for 30 was better. You know what I mean? Obviously, if they hit you for like 5,000 lethal, then the Fog is better than Fruition, right? But, you know, there are scenarios where one is better than the other, depending on how much life you gain. But Fog is essentially a fancy life gain spell. So
I agree with
you
that.
can be proactive about it.
The part I get stuck on, though, is the like needing to have the Yavimaya. Like, you need a Fog I can just cast and gain some amount of life, depending on how much I'm being attacked for. With this, I need like a second it's Splinter Twin. It's green life gain Splinter Twin to some extent. Like, is that not worth worrying about? Like, or just the assumption that we're gonna find the Yavimaya at some point and like
Also,
don't worry about it?
also the Fog is sneaky. Fruition is sorcery speed. You can't be sneaky with it. You just have to
I
get
guess
it.
that is true. True.
But
I
also, if you have no Yavimaya and you have, let's say you're playing Richard Mana Base, you have 3 forests. You know, there's another green player. They have 5, 1 mana gain 8. You know, it's not horrendous.
Not
you know what I
good,
mean? Like,
but-
it's not like the end of the world. But you can also just be a green believer and play like 10 forests, which I would highly recommend you not do. And then Fruition is 1 mana gain 10 based on yourself as well. It's not.
And
like,
I guess it counts dual lands.
Oh
as
my
well.
god.
yeah, people play breeding pools. People play, stuff like that, right?
This card is sorcery?
It is sorcery.
That's a
Oh
deep-
no, Krim, we've lost you.
Wow.
Morgan just pointed it out that's I just assumed this was instant. I didn't even bother to read it.
instant.
Oh,
I will bump it up.
Terrible. Hold on. What?
It is sorcery. Yeah,
I'll
it
say up
is.
here at B. I'll say up here at B. I would sometimes play it.
I'll
I
bump
would
it up
never
slightly.
play this. This is
I need to come out of retirement. It's like I need to fruition you guys to death until
Till we believe. Till we
until
believe.
you
That's what.
like I fog you guys until everyone is a fog believer. We're
is-
gonna take it to the next step. We're gonna fruition. We'll just go double fruition every game. I'll cheat. I'll put 2 fruitions in my deck.
I have a short list of cards that for when I'm on Commander Clash, I'm like, all right, if I'm playing this color, I'm going to try this card because I don't know how I feel about this card. I'm just going to jam this in every green deck and
Jam
see how it does.
Let's see what happens. Well,
Worst case is it sucks.
I mean, I will say I'll bump it up to C purely out of respect for Richard and because of he did really convince the whole world, or at least all of us, that fogs are good in Commander, and he was right about that. So I think it's probably at least good in Richard decks. So I will give it that, even though I am still not convinced. But maybe you'll come back on some Commander Clash episodes.
I just want to say this is
and
why it's
convince
better
me.
than fog, right? A lot of people you're taking advantage of the rules of Commander. They will knock you low to 5 life and then leave you alone because
That
you're
is
on
true.
death's door, right? And they will leave you alone and focus
That is
attention
true.
elsewhere. You just build resources and then kazam, I'm back to 40 and you left me alone the whole game and I'm back, right? Like it plays so well into that you guys need to play it, right? Like people do not finish off the dead player. You just sit there and be like, right?
But Richard, what if Phil's at the table and he just randomly pings a screaming nemesis just to troll you?
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, Screaming Nemesis. What's that enchantment you always play, Krim? Like the 1 mana one that
Sulfuric
shuts off
Vortex?
light?
Oh,
Yeah,
Ro-
Like
Roiling-
Vortex,
there
yeah.
are counters to the life gain and fog meta. Once we have shown our true power, the counters will have to come out, and then you got to move on.
But these are cards that are already there to counter existing and popular things. So
like
what I mean by
fruition.
that-
Fruition exists.
If
Okay,
you
well,
have
I'm
the
not
counter
playing those
fruition,
cards
then
for
I have done my
fruition.
job.
I'm not trying to counter fruition. I'm countering life gain.
Anyway, I think we just put it in the C tier, maybe. Are we?
All right,
I
is
don't
it
know.
at least above Haunt of Hightower?
It's yeah.
No,
We'll put it right
Haunt of
above. We'll put it right above Haunt.
Haunt
We'll
of
put it right above.
Hightower is a
It beats-
real win
It
condition.
beats True Conviction in Haunt of Hightower.
What? No.
And anyway, everyone, that is our life gain tier list. Hopefully you enjoyed this conversation. Let us know what you think about these life gain spells. Do you play Fruition? Is it worth it? Are any of these spells even actually life gain? Are they finishers? Let us know what you think in the comments. And we'll be back next week to talk some more Commander. So until then, everyone, have an amazing week. And this is a crew signing out.